Welcome back, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Today, we're going to do a Mr. Beat video. It's been a while since we've done a Mr. Beat video, but we have every president's favorite drink. Now, not sure what this means, if it's alcohol or non-alcoholic. I'm assuming both, but as some presidents don't even drink, or did not drink. Let's jump right into it. Glad you're here. Let's go.
Mr. Beat. That's good stuff. My beverage of choice is coffee. I drink it way too much, but it's so good. Speaking of which, I gotta go pee. BRB.
5 minutes later.
I guess I should have done that before I started filming. Anyway, last year I made a video about the favorite food of every president in
Oh, we gotta do that one too.
American history. This will be the most important video I have ever made. Well, at the time, it was the most important video I had ever made up to that point, but this video is even more important because in this video, we're going to learn about the favorite drink of every American.
What a very good photo right there. That photo, of course, is I can't remember when that photo was. I think it was during Reagan's administration, but yeah, quite a good photo.
American president in history.
Could have even had George H.W. in that picture, but he wasn't a president at that time.
We're going in chronological order again, but I won't be offended if you jump ahead to check out Chester Arthur's favorite drink. Before we get into it though, let's get two things out of the way. First of all the presidents liked to drink water. And you like to drink water too.
Oh, this is an ad. We'll just get right through it.
George Washington. Our first president was a big fan of Madeira wine, a fortified wine he regularly imported from the Portuguese Madeira island.
Got money. Got money.
He also loved a spiced, brandy-based cocktail named Cherry Bounce. Those were for special occasions, though. More often than not, Washington drank beer and a dark porter. He also owned a distillery near Mount Vernon that produced whiskey, which he sold, of course. When Washington wasn't drinking alcohol, he was drinking milk, tea, and coffee. John Adams. Adams also loved Madeira wine.
Yeah, gotta. Yeah, good taste, the first two, I guess.
And apparently woke up most mornings promptly pouring himself a glass of cider, and often hard cider, meaning cider with alcohol in it. He also loved tea, but vowed to give it up during the American Revolution.
Yeah, you can't drink tea with the tax on tea and the Boston Tea Party, and he's from Boston.
Due to it being, quote, unpatriotic, since it was strongly associated with the British. After that, he mostly drank coffee instead. Thomas Jefferson. More than anything, Jefferson was known for loving wine. During his first term as president, he apparently got in trouble after spending more than $10,000 on wine, which is more than $200,000.
Jeez. I mean, wine it can get up there. And of course, Jefferson's very fond of the French, which have probably some of the best wine in the world. So I can see that.
$1,000 in today's money. Even after his presidency, he came back to the White House to advise Presidents Madison and Monroe on the proper wine to buy for parties and stuff. Now, his favorite wines came from France, of course. He even produced his own grapes and made his own wine at his Monticello estate in Virginia. With mixed success. He also brewed his own beer. While Jefferson enjoyed imperial tea, he was more of a coffee snob. He particularly enjoyed coffee grown in the Caribbean islands and in Indonesia. And yeah, of course he roasted his own beans. James Madison. Madison drank...
Oh, I get what he's trying to do there. If you don't, I'm sorry, but I get what he's trying to do there.
Coffee and tea, but didn't drink alcohol that much since he got hangovers pretty easily. When he did drink alcohol, he drank whiskey and champagne. James Monroe. Monroe also loved champagne and most French and Spanish red wine.
Did he like champagne, or was it just Contemporary sources show that he drank champagne during public, you know, during the public outings and celebrations, which usually accompanies with champagne.
He definitely partied from time to time, especially as a younger man. He sometimes would go, quote, on quite a frolic, as they called it in those days. Today we call that on a bender. His favorite drink, called Chatham Artillery Punch, mixed tea, wine, rum, rye whiskey, brandy, gin, champagne, and a bunch of other sweet.
Wow, that's like something you would order at Margaritaville.
Sweet stuff. Ugh, actually. Doesn't sound too good. Oh, and apparently Monroe got into some trouble while he was president for buying 1,200 bottles of French wine with money that was supposed to be spent on furniture.
So we got that from Jefferson. Gotcha.
Oops. John Quincy Adams. Like father, like son. JQ also loved Madeira wine and cider, like his dad, John Adams. He also was a regular coffee and tea drinker. Andrew Jackson. Whiskey. Just, whiskey. Like Washington, Jackson also distilled whiskey at one point. In 1799, his distillery burned down, destroying 300 gallons of whiskey. After still having to pay an excise tax on whiskey, he asked Congress to refund the tax he had paid. Congress politely denied his request. When Jackson wasn't drinking whiskey, he was drinking coffee. Martin Van Buren. Van Buren also loved whiskey. In fact, he drank so much whiskey that people nicknamed him Blue Whiskey Van.
Didn't know that.
Apparently, Van Buren also drank buttermilk?
Yuck.
Yeah. If you don't know what buttermilk is, it traditionally has been the liquid left behind after churning butter out of cultured cream. Yummy. William Henry Harrison. Like John Adams, Harrison loved hard cider. After Harrison's political opponents talked trash about him drinking too much of it as he ran for president in 1840, the Whigs embraced the accusation, making it part of his campaign with the slogan, "Log cabin and hard cider," to make it seem like Harrison was a man of the people. John Tyler. Tyler began every day with tea and milk, which he drank from a very large cup. He also enjoyed coffee and champagne. James Polk. Polk also loved champagne and drank a bit.
See what I'm saying? Like champagne's just continuous here.
Of brandy and wine. Caffeine was more of his drug than alcohol, though. He began every day with coffee and often drank it all day long. Zachary Taylor. Well, we know he liked milk. Some speculate that Taylor may have died while in office after drinking iced milk that contained bacteria. As a matter of fact, like Jackson and Van Buren, he also loved his whiskey. Millard Fillmore. Fillmore enjoyed tea, specifically oolong tea, which traditionally comes from China. He didn't drink alcohol that much, but when he did, it was usually wine. Yeah. This next president, unfortunately, did drink alcohol too much. Franklin Pierce. If it had alcohol...
Is this cirrhosis? Did he get cirrhosis, or is that a different person?
In it, he probably drank it. He reportedly began every morning with a glass of cognac. After Pierce lost re-election as president, he allegedly said, quote, "There's nothing left to do but get drunk." He suffered from alcoholism for much of his adult life and died of cirrhosis of the liver at 65 due to his excessive drinking. James Buchanan. Buchanan took his coffee black and strong and drank it pretty much every day. Similar to Washington and both John and John Quincy Adams, he loved Madeira wine. He also occasionally drank champagne, whiskey, and sherry. And finally, we get to our first teetotaler. Abraham Lincoln. A teetotaler is someone who never drinks alcohol, and Lincoln was
I never knew that was the name for that. There was a name for that even.
Practically a teetotaler. I say, quote, practically, because he did occasionally enjoy a glass of wine. But hey, in the mid-1800s, consuming just one glass of wine per month was basically considered being a teetotaler, since alcohol consumption was so common.
Like 3 to 6x what we do today
at the time in the United States. States. Lincoln also loved coffee quite a bit. Andrew Johnson. Johnson also may have owned, or was at least involved with, a distillery in Greenville, Tennessee that produced brandy. Johnson's personal drink of choice was whiskey. Infamously, Johnson drank a bit too much alcohol, you could say, at his inauguration ceremony, giving an incoherent speech and making a fool out of himself.
Well, dang. I didn't even know that.
Ulysses
so much.
Grant. Unfortunately, Grant was also a heavy
This I did know.
drinker of alcohol and, like Pierce, struggled with alcoholism for most of his adult life. That said, it didn't take much alcohol for him to get drunk, which is probably why so many people knew about his drinking. His favorite drink was, surprisingly, champagne. At one White House party he hosted while president, he spent $1,800 on champagne alone. Yeah, that's more than $45,000 in today's money.
Well, for a lot of people, probably.
When Grant
Right.
wasn't drinking alcohol, he was drinking lemonade. In
That's the first time we've seen lemonade.
his memoirs, he noted that he often enjoyed lemonade on horseback, as it helped him cool down after long rides. Well, guess who also loved lemonade? Rutherford Hayes. There was always a pitcher of
Lemonade train happening.
lemonade at his desk, especially once it got warm outside. And he was a legit teetotaler, never drinking alcohol. He even was a big supporter of the temperance movement that
Prohibition.
sought to ban the sale and consumption of alcohol. It helped that his wife, Lucy, was even more of a teetotaler than Rutherford was. In
It's gonna be interesting to see, like, from Rutherford to Roosevelt, what's that gonna look like?
fact, she was an enforcer of sorts, making sure no alcohol ever entered the White House while he was president, because lemonade was there instead. That's how she got the nickname Lemonade Lucy. James Garfield. Garfield also supported the temperance movement, but still enjoyed beer from time to time.
Which a lot of those individuals who were in support of the temperance movement, they more or less cared more about liquor than beer. Beer was okay in a lot of senses.
I like beer. I like beer.
The older he got, the less he drank of it, though. He also was a big fan of milk with breakfast. Whoa, 2 presidents in a row who wanted to ban alcohol? Impressive.
Or we wanted to ban it too?
Yeah, that streak quickly ended with the next president, Chester Arthur. When temperance movement activists tried to get him to ban alcohol at the White House, he was like, no. He enjoyed wine and brandy from time to time, as well as coffee and tea. Grover Cleveland. Beer. Lots of beer.
I like beer. I like beer.
If Cleveland was on the old sitcom Cheers, he'd be Norm Peterson. He was always hanging out at the bar with friends, drinking beers, especially as a younger man. At one point in his life, he realized he had been drinking too much, to a point where it was negatively affecting his health. From that point forward, he vowed he would only drink 4 beers a day. Wait, only?
Well, still, that's probably less than at the time.
4 beers a day? After realizing how difficult that was, he switched to bigger beer mugs. Benjamin Harrison. Even though he may have been lactose intolerant, Harrison loved milk. And that's basically it. Harrison had a strict diet and avoided drinking anything crazy, including alcohol. Yep, another teetotaler. Good job, Harrison. He apparently also liked, quote, hot, clear soup,
So broth.
which apparently was just hot tea.
Oh.
William McKinley. McKinley liked rye whiskey, and there was even a popular drink associated with his presidential campaign called McKinley's Delight, a cocktail that featured rye whiskey, sweet vermouth, cherry brandy, and a dash of absinthe. There's also some evidence that McKinley may have enjoyed grape juice. Theodore Roosevelt. Roosevelt liked coffee pretty much more than any other president. Supposedly, he drank up to a gallon of coffee every day.
Jeez.
which certainly fits his larger-than-life image. And it's always made sense to me since the dude was always so full of energy. Teddy also liked to drink an alcoholic cocktail named Mint Julep. He even used fresh mint from the White House garden
Okay.
to put in it. Members of his cabinet loved mint julep, and he used the drink to convince them to come over and play tennis. William Taft. Taft also enjoyed coffee. He didn't drink alcohol that much, but when he did, it was often champagne. Woodrow Wilson. Wilson preferred alcohol over caffeine. He loved scotch and whiskey. In fact, his presidential campaign song was Wilson, That's All, which basically ripped off a popular ad slogan from a whiskey company called Wilson Whiskey. Wilson also loved to drink orange juice
First time seeing orange juice.
and often served it at the White House. By the time Woodrow Wilson was out of office, Prohibition was in full effect. But that didn't stop presidents from drinking alcohol. Oh no. Warren Harding. Even though Harding was president during Prohibition, he regularly snuck whiskey around, man.
Isn't that just hilarious?
And even in his golf bag, which explains why his golf game wasn't that good. He also was really into cocktails. His favorite drink was a gin Ricky, which is made with gin, lime juice, and soda water, although he often mixed it with orange juice. Calvin Coolidge. Coolidge loved apple cider. He often made cider from his own apple orchard. He didn't drink much alcohol, but when he did, it was usually either Tokay wine or a martini. He also drank coffee.
That's a very different one.
Herbert Hoover. Before Prohibition, Hoover loved to drink wine. Hoover legit apparently didn't drink alcohol at all during Prohibition. This may have something to do with the fact that his wife, Lou, may have made him dump out all of his wine once Prohibition went into effect.
Oh.
After Prohibition ended, Hoover often liked to drink martinis. Franklin Roosevelt.
Which, of course, Prohibition ends over right when he starts.
Like his distant cousin, Teddy Roosevelt, FDR loved coffee. He loved a good dark roast, even having his staff roast the beans in the White House kitchen and personally supervising the whole process. During World War II, when the federal government required that Americans ration their coffee beans, FDR did his part by reusing old coffee grounds to brew new coffee. Yeah, by all accounts, the coffee tasted like crap. FDR also loved cocktails. His favorite one was the Bermuda Rum Swizzle for Rizzle. Harry Truman. While most modern presidents began each day with a nice cup of coffee, Truman often began each day with a shot of bourbon, his favorite alcoholic drink. Just like Van Buren, Truman loved to drink buttermilk. He reportedly once
What a combo.
said, quote, "If you want to get along with me, give me buttermilk." Truman also loved coffee and lemonade. Dwight Eisenhower. Ike loved coffee, often drinking way too much of it during World War II, which, I mean, makes sense, considering the fact that he did not sleep very much during the war. Eisenhower also loved drinking scotch. After he had a heart attack when he was president, his doctor understandably told him to stop drinking alcohol. But scotch was the one alcoholic drink he kept sneakily drinking anyway. Eisenhower also enjoyed drinking, believe it or not, vegetable juice.
Maybe that's for help.
John Kennedy. JFK enjoyed a little bit of everything, specifically coffee, tea, beer, lemonade, and even coconut water. His favorite alcoholic drink was a Bloody Mary, a cocktail that mixes vodka with tomato juice. Next up, we finally have a president who enjoyed
Johnson.
soda. Lyndon Johnson. LBJ apparently drank Frescas all the time. He often mixed clear soda with scotch as well. He famously enjoyed drinking scotch out of either a plastic or styrofoam cup. Classy, Lyndon. He also famously had a set of 4 buttons installed in the Oval Office to order his favorite beverages.
I guess that's where the precedent starts.
Buttons were located on a panel right next to his desk. One was for coffee, one was for tea, one was for Fresca, and one was for a specially made drink that mixed grapefruit juice and soda water that Johnson called Johnson. Creative there, Lyndon. Richard Nixon. There is quite a bit of evidence that Nixon enjoyed milk as well as coffee. He also enjoyed red wine. Apparently, he would regularly enjoy really expensive red wine, like bottles of wine that cost hundreds of dollars in today's money. Meanwhile, when guests came over to the White House, he'd serve them with cheap red wine, instructing his staff to serve the wine to them with the bottle label covered up so they didn't know the wine they were getting was mediocre. See, that Tricky Dick nickname really does fit him well, doesn't it? Gerald Ford. Ford drank tea and orange juice pretty much every day. He also often had a martini or two or three at lunch.
Wow.
Jimmy Carter. Carter's favorite drinks are lemonade and coffee. He has never drank that much alcohol, but when he has, it's usually been white wine. He actually used to make wine, once growing about 15 acres of grapes at his home in Georgia. Ronald Reagan. Reagan also loved coffee and orange juice, which he drank pretty much every morning. He also loved red wine, particularly California-based
Obviously.
wines. His favorite cocktail was an orange blossom special, made with vodka and orange juice in it, of course. George H.W. Bush.
I'll be surprised if he drank.
Bush Sr. loved coffee, but eventually switched to decaf as he got older. He also liked Diet Coke, beer, and vodka.
Never mind.
Bill Clinton. Coffee, of course, is Clinton's favorite beverage, but he also digs iced tea and at least used to drink soda, especially Diet Coke. His favorite alcoholic drink was a snake bite, which is a mix of hard cider and lager beer. George W. Bush. Well, it used to be Miller Lite. Bush Jr. famously used to drink alcohol quite a bit, but after he turned 40, he pretty much quit drinking it altogether. After he quit alcohol, his #1 drink of choice was, you guessed it, Diet Coke. Hey, are you noticing a pattern here? So yeah, just like his dad and Clinton, Bush also enjoyed
Coca-Cola must have like a contract for the White House.
his coffee. Barack Obama. Obama broke the streak of presidents preferring coffee and soda for their caffeine fix. Instead, Obama prefers tea. His favorite flavors are green dragon tea and black forest berry. Okay, he's been known to drink Diet Coke too. And just so you know, this video is not sponsored by Diet Coke.
Seems like it.
I think it's disgusting. Obama also occasionally enjoys beer, which explains this meme. He was the first and only president to have beer brewed in the White House.
Wow.
White House Honey Ale. The brewers even used honey collected from the beehives on the South Lawn.
Nice.
Donald Trump.
Coke. Diet Coke.
Really? Diet Coke again? What the heck is up with that? Well, Trump likes Diet Coke more than other presidents, okay? He reportedly drinks up to 12 cans of it every day. Also, Trump is a teetotaler, the first teetotaler president since Benjamin Harrison. He's apparently never drank any alcohol whatsoever in his entire life. The current American president also doesn't drink alcohol. Joe Biden. Yep, we've now had 2 teetotaler presidents in a row, which is kind of crazy since
3 now if you count Trump's second presidency, but usually you wouldn't count that since we didn't count Cleveland.
you know, it's the United States. The 2020 presidential election was the first ever to feature 2 major party teetotaler candidates. Instead, Biden's favorite drink is orange Gatorade.
That's crazy weird and random. All right, cool.
I'm not joking. He also drinks coffee, returning that
Then you got all those, and I'm pretty sure that version of orange Gatorade has like pretty harmful dyes in it. Why are we talking about harmful when we're talking about alcohol throughout this entire video?
That's presidential tradition. So those were the favorite beverages of every American president in history. If I missed any, please let me know down in those comments. If you're keeping score, 22 presidents generally preferred drinks with caffeine in them, and 22 presidents also generally preferred drinks with alcohol in them. Oh, and then there was Rutherford Hayes, who preferred sugary lemonade. You may have noticed that of all the presidents, 100% of their favorite drinks had drugs in them. And yes, sugar is a
I mean, I think that's everybody.
drug. But I don't add sugar to my coffee. I just add caffeine.
Great video. Awesome stuff. I've learned so much throughout this 20-something minute video. I hope you guys did too. Which president do you guys feel like you're most aligned to? Meaning like you're most like? I'd have to go back and see because I wasn't thinking about that. But let's look right. Let's go back a couple slides. I feel like I'm more on the caffeine side. I do drink a lot a lot in our videos. This is not a sponsorship, but I will tell you what if you've ever seen this drink, I drink it a lot whenever it's a rehab Monster, which is a lot better than regular Monster in my opinion, where it's like 0 sugar, 20 calories. Actually, it's like 3 sugars, 20 calories, and yeah. But what I drink usually is like water, coffee, tea, and this. What do you guys think? Like, I would probably fall more aligned on like the caffeine side myself on this chart, but let me know what you guys are. I'll see you guys next time though. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out and bye bye.